Mobile gaming is a thing that has been contested since time immemorial. It was never really held in the same regard as other titles on other platforms. They were more or less something that people had played casually, would be viewed as a thing for casuals. A lot of people even today don't take it that seriously, even in spite of some incredible gems that have come out of it over the years. But historically, the mobile platform has been filled with a lot of apps that either hide behind massive paywalls or are too casual to be taken to a more serious level. Even back in the day when you had very simple games on the brick phones or the iPod Classics, they were more or less an afterthought. People would rather play an amateurish flash game on the computer than touch anything with the word mobile on it. In saying that though, the reception towards mobile gaming nowadays has thankfully been improved over the past 10 years or so of games that have just come out of the woodwork, where not only that, but the technology itself has only gotten better and the graphical quality bringing in more detail than something you'd see on the PS Vita or the 3DS even. Mobile phones are so portable that almost everyone has one, and for some developers it's been an absolute goldmine being able to reach out to just about everyone really. If you have a phone that you got recently, then you'd be able to pop in a game like say Genshin Impact or Call of Duty Mobile and get right into it. And those are just some of the more popular mobile titles available today, but there are also a plethora of really good indie titles that have been made for mobile devices, and it's something that is hard to look for because of both Google and Apple's god-awful search system to find specific games. Thankfully though, this one I'll be talking about, Altos Adventure, isn't too hard to find. Altos Adventure is an endless snowboarding game that was made by a handful of people across different places, dating all the way back to 2013. The initial loop was to have a simple but enjoyable snowboarding experience that would go on forever in an endless environment of snowy mountains, forests, and villages. The goal for the most part was to grab gold and missing llamas. Development would at first start on the Cocos 2D engine, but one of the developers saw that Unity at the time had far more potential to develop the game that they truly wanted. So they would work and practice with Unity instead, and within a couple of days an early build would be made. But it wouldn't be until 2015 that the title would see a full release date. People had loved it upon release. Seeing something with a nice and relaxing atmosphere with seamless and simple gameplay that could be played with literally a finger, which was a huge appeal of mobile games in general. The ability to play with one finger in most cases, which allowed for casual but relaxing gaming sessions to take place. In this one, you begin at your camp, and the moment you press play, you begin riding across the infinite snowscape. Altos Adventure, when you think about it, goes with the same sort of logic as other endless games like say Temple Run or Subway Surfers, where it's more about endurance than anything. Even if you got the mechanics down to a T, it becomes a matter of how long you can last. The game itself gives you plenty of incentive to continue playing thanks to both the leveling system as well as the characters that you can unlock. It's a bit of a grind, but when you play it, you'll generally find it to be pretty seamless in the sense that you're just snowboarding all the while time passes by. You could be playing on your phone for 5 minutes when in reality it was actually half an hour you spent doing multiple runs. The game simply hooks you in with its simple but charming premise, where you find gold, rescue llamas, escape the elders that can knock you down, all the while grinding and doing backflips to score combos. The scenery itself keeps on going endlessly. There's no endgame of the sort other than to keep leveling up and beating your own score. You have power-ups that you can find, giving you temporary advantages, like the magnet that brings gold towards you or the feather that floats you above ground, so that you don't hit the rocks that ruin your run if you hit them. Sometimes you'll stumble across ice that doubles your speed, and this will be something to look out for, and you can even break through rocks while you're in this mode. As for the speed boost, it becomes crucial when the elder chases you. Having him knock you down ends your run, so you're going to want to keep your distance as much as possible. For starters, you can backflip or grind on top of the wires to get more speed, and landing successfully also does the same thing. You'll also sometimes have chasms that you need to jump across. This also ends your run too if you miss it. However, if you don't want the pressure of failing and having to start all over again, there is a mode that lets you play all the while ignoring points, as well as reviving you if you screw up. In the case of failing, you can buy a chance to get back on your feet after your run fails, but I would suggest saving that gold instead. That way you can spend it on the upgrades that you can obtain for power-ups and items. To level up, you have to fulfill certain challenges, but you can also skip some of them. Would recommend trying it first though. The music is quite pleasant and plays on a loop. It can get pretty repetitive though, even if it does fit the atmosphere and setting of the game. However, you can just play your own music to circumvent this issue if you wish. But aside from the repetitiveness of the music, it's still enjoyable like I said. Another highlight of the game are the graphics. Mobile games in the past have looked pretty terrible, and even with today, they've still got some ways to go. But Altos Adventure's art style makes it feel timeless. It's something that you would see in vector graphics. Simple but very sharp and artistic at the same time. The choice of colours correlate nicely with the beautiful scenery you get to enjoy throughout your playthroughs of the game. And what makes the seamless experience even better here is the day and night cycle and weather effects that appear as well. During different points, it can even be raining and be nighttime, presenting its own unique challenges into the mix. The gameplay is very simple to grasp. Your character moves automatically and you press on the screen to jump and hold to do a backflip. At worst, it'll take a few minutes to adjust to the rhythm of things, but afterwards you'll be snowballing crazy combos and long distances, like a pro snowboarder. At least in this game anyways. Altos Adventure is a game that provides a minimal but enjoyable concept that makes it fun for not just anyone, but for those that are looking for fun and casual snowboarding games. Mobile gaming is a very divisive industry even by today, when you have so many good games out there on the mobile market that are being underappreciated. And they still have a lot of work to do in the tech department, but they are catching up. Altos Adventure is just one of many reminders out there that mobile gaming can actually be really good. The only trouble it has, of course, is finding the right games to show for it. The sequel game, Altos Odyssey, looks to expand on what its predecessor does, giving a different backdrop and other features. I've yet to play it, but will come around to it eventually. But Altos Adventure itself is still a really good mobile game worth getting, and it's one of my favorites on the platform. Thank you for watching.